So today I want to talk about comparison of Excel and Power BI, specifically in the context of financial analysis. In this video, I assume that you have already heard about Power BI and know what it is, but you don't need to have any specific Power BI skills in order to understand what I'm talking about. So let me give you a quick introduction to myself. So my name is Eugene. I work as financial analyst in Autodesk, and I got masters in business analytics from the University of Surrey. If you purchase any Power BI services from this website, I will be personally responsible for delivery. I work on projects myself, but also have a small team of very talented Power BI developers who work with me. So let's dive straight into the topic. A lot of C-level executives actually realize that people lower down in the hierarchy spend too much time working with manual maintenance of the files. So this includes things like refreshing the data manually, so copying the data from one document and pasting it into the other, just to get the update on the latest information. Also things like updating the formulas regularly when a change in the organization happens. All these things, they take a lot of time, which analysts could have otherwise spent on actually getting an insight from data and explaining to people what data tells them. How can Power BI solve these problems? Well, first of all, you can set up data flows with Power BI. So what it means is that there are already over 70 embedded connectors in Power BI, and this list is growing every day. So Power BI product team is developing more connectors with every Power BI update. You can already connect to sources like SQL, Salesforce, and Amazon Web Services, and many other databases. But what's more important is that you can even develop your own custom connector. So even if you don't find your data source in this list of 70 connectors, there is still a good chance that either you can develop them if you have the necessary skills, or you can hire someone else to develop it for you. Another very useful feature is the consistency of data. So what I mean by that is usually in Power BI when you build the visualizations, you can only use one formula per visual. Of course, there are exceptions to these rules, and sometimes you can have more than one formula, but the general rule of thumb is this: one formula per one visual. I'll show you exactly what I mean when we go through the example of the report that I developed for Autodesk at the end of this video. And finally, you can get rid of heavy files by transitioning to Power BI. So this is very important when you have people who work on less powerful laptops in your organization, because when they try to open heavy Excel files, usually they just crash. And this means that they either can't get access to information, or they really struggle to maintain this file. So now let's actually dive into the case study. This is the report I developed for Autodesk, and before saying anything about it, I want to make sure that I have kept Autodesk data secure, because I've replaced all the numbers in this report with this run between function. So now let's take a little bit closer look. This report presents a different view on the KPIs that I used to analyze the health of Autodesk business. And the KPIs are presented in this table, which is repeated many times across several tabs. The only difference between those tables is the click that is being analyzed. And there are actually quite a lot of problems with this approach, because first of all, it's not quite consistent in terms of the formula. Of course, when the file was built, the way it was built, the analyst was just duplicating the tab, and changing the name of the team in here, which was making all the formulas look at a different team. This approach definitely works in the beginning, but after you maintain a file for a little bit of time, you probably have to adjust some KPIs because there is some organizational change. And what do you need to do when you have to adjust your KPI? Well, you have to go through every single table in this file and change the formula. This table is repeated over 80 times across the whole document. So this means that there is a good chance that you will actually make an error when you maintain the file this way. And this becomes a real problem because people who need to make decisions based on this file, they either make wrong decisions or they are not entirely confident in the quality of data. So the way we solved this problem in Power BI, we developed this report, and as you can see, it's a similar user interface. The same tables are used, but what is different is that only one formula is used for a table. So this field shows you the formula. And why is this approach better? Well, because when you change the field selection, your formula remains consistent. So now, if you, for example, want to look at a different team, all the tables will refresh and show you the data from a different team. But the formula, you can be 100% sure that it remains consistent. So another problem with this file is that it was just too heavy, so people couldn't open this on their laptops, so they couldn't get access to this data. And the way we solved this is by using the Power BI service, which is the cloud portal where you can publish your report and share it with everyone. So when you click this publish button, it's going to ask you if you want to save changes to the report, and you click save, and then you can choose the workspace where you want to publish this report. So this is how it looks. After you choose the workspace, you can go to see it in the browser, and here is the report. Then you can share this report with everyone else. So a very important thing that I want to say is that you only share the report interface, so people will not be able to see the data behind this report, and this is definitely cutting the memory space that they need to have available in order to view the file. So this is the second benefit. Third benefit is building the data flows. So as you can see in this file, this is just a very big amount of data. So about 130,000 rows, and this is multiplied by 4 basically, because there are 4 data sources in here. All of them needed to be manually refreshed, so data had to be copied from one document and pasted to the other. The way we've solved this in Autodesk is we've set up a scheduled refresh. So here, for example, this is the data set for this report. If we go to scheduled refresh, then you will see that the data is updated automatically at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. So this is really helping us to reduce the time spent on the maintenance of this report. And the final thing I want to say is that all this problem with KPI dashboard arises not because of the people, because Autodesk has some of the smartest people that I know, some of the most hardworking people as well. But all these problems only happen because the wrong tool was chosen for analysis in the first place, and people just didn't have the necessary skills to switch to another tool. So my actual goal when running my own services in Power BI is to make those small advanced tools available for smaller organizations may not have access to the talent with the necessary skills, but it doesn't mean that they have to limit themselves to these less efficient tools to do the job. Thank you for your time.